9:05. We got plenty of time.
We have plenty of time here, and we had a nice little agenda here with some Google updates. I feel like we're going to be talking all things Google in this one.
Yeah, but before we start, I do think like it is kind of interesting. It just kind of popped in my head is that like, hey, we're doing this in between fucking client calls. Like, we are actually in the shit, doing the work, managing
Literally on the
clients,
front
doing
lines here.
campaigns, and so it's like, yeah, we're not just sitting back in our, theoretically giving you conversations of things that could happen or could not happen. So, yeah, we're shoving this in between two client calls. So we're just gonna kick this off and get going and go from there.
It's so true. Because probably so many podcasts out there that are like just very theoretical, and it's like
Just talking heads.
this is real time stuff that we're learning.
Yep, for
Yeah.
sure.
All right. I wanted Steve to kick this off with um, like I said, we were talking all things Google, and I think we're going to tie this into AI overviews, the new AI Max setting that just came out, and how we're approaching that. Um, just wanted to read off this a couple stats here from Google's earnings here. So
Okay.
um, let me just read this in, and of course I pulled up the. I think I had like the total numbers here. Well, regardless, so Google reported earnings, which are what Q2 earnings here. So overall revenue growth of 14% and ad revenue climbed 10.4%. Revenues increased 12% across Google Search, YouTube ads, and other ad services. Um, One thing that's like really interesting to note here is Pew Research also dropped a new report. Now, granted, it's 900 U.S. users, so like not a ton, but like I think
Yeah.
everybody can relate to this. They found that when an AI summary, so like that AI overview, only 8% clicked any link, half as often as when there was just like standard results and there's no AI overviews there. Even worse, 1% clicked on links inside AI summary itself. So just 1% of the time that an AI overview is interacted with, a link is actually clicked. Um, Also, AI overviews often meant that users cut their sessions short. So about 26% of users ended their search entirely after seeing an AI summary, compared to 16% for standard searches. Um, so Google has claimed that like web is thriving, everything is, in a really good spot. But when it comes to like website traffic and like actual engagement, um, AI overviews is just giving people answers and like they're not interacting with anything else, just reading that and then bouncing. So I would assume a lot of businesses right now are kind of like thinking like, how do I maintain, visibility and traction to sites there? But yeah, I thought that was really interesting to see that like ad
Did
revenues up here, yet actual like traffic to sites is like pretty down.
I'm assuming they didn't say what sort of what types of queries were in this study as far as click through rate. And when I say what type, I'm thinking like, hey, is this top of the funnel, longer tail informational type searches or more transactional type searches? I'm assuming they didn't.
They didn't.
Yeah, so my whole point behind it, just to belabor it more, and I know I've talked about it before, but I think a lot of those people that are going in and not clicking, what are they searching for? They're searching for questions and answers, right? That are not heavy transactional type of keywords, and it's maybe like just kind of one offs, curious about a question about something. They're not like serious shoppers or business seekers um, for it all. And I'm sure that, I mean, yeah, you got your answer. Why do I need to click through the website? How old is this
Exactly.
person or who was acting in this or, what's this? But if someone's like really trying to dive in and trying to find a service or a product, I bet they're clicking through still. I really still think that,
Like if they're really trying to, yeah.
yeah, if they're really digging in and they're trying to find a service or a product that they're interested in, they're going to click through because they're going to do some additional research. And it goes back to how a lot of SEO companies over the last 10 years were selling like, hey, we do blog posts for top funnel content. All that traffic is going to go away. And I don't mind it going away because it didn't do shit in the first place.
So let me like because I think I follow. So basically, you're saying like hey, before AI overviews, there's probably like a lot of research where like somebody's looking for, you know, somebody's looking for an answer. They do a search. They then click a link to like, okay, like, did I find what I was looking for in this blog? Maybe go back. Did I find what I was looking for in this blog? That all is going away because AI overviews gives you that answer right away. But if somebody's at the point where they want to purchase product or like, I don't know, like really dig in on like a specific brand services, they're just going to go to that site. So like there's going to be way less traffic, but it's like really like top of funnel traffic that like really in the grand scheme of things like probably really wasn't doing anything for your business anyway.
Exactly, 100% was what I
Yeah.
was trying to articulate. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, sure, there are
But
probably
if it
some less clicks happening, but people are still using Google as they normally do. It's just for more of those research, like in depth, trying to find a product or service. But yeah,
100%.
sorry, did you lose me there?
Well, I will say if you have a website
Oh
right now that
no.
oh no, I gotcha. It did get a little choppy here, but
Okay,
like
cool.
good old podcasting on here. I was just I was just gonna mention though, like if you did have a website that like an AdSense website where like you were just like reliant on like display ad revenue on your site, there's no way that like is sustainable business anymore. Like there's just no
No,
way.
that's tough. No, dude,
You
no.
could probably have instances where like you still make some money based off of display ads and like I'm sure like like a New York Times or something like that like they'll be fine, but like the I don't know, like little hackier sites that are just like ranking for like some blog topics and like some travel sites and stuff, like you need to get really creative and probably have like Facebook ads and market Reddit ads and like some stuff. Organic search is just not going to be there for you for that traffic and that revenue anymore. There's just no way.
Yeah, no, 100% for sure. And a lot of those sites that they're ranking for now, they're just not going to get that traffic, that click through anymore. So that model's dead. But
Before we get to the AI mode piece here that you were going to mention, I did
yeah,
just want to read off. This was actually pulled from Morning Brew. I knew I read it somewhere. Alphabet sales are up from AI, but it's also spending. Alphabet's 96.4 billion revenue for Q2 exceeded expectations. That is insane. Like you think about a company that it's like, wow, we reached a billion in revenue. Like what a big deal that is. Google does 96 billion in a quarter. Just one quarter. That's like hard to like wrap your head around. Um, and that's a 32% year over year revenue growth.
wow.
That was supported by revenue growth, mainly from like its cloud computing business. But just like unbelievable the amount of money that this business prints. And they upped their capital expenditure estimates to 85 billion, mainly due to like, investing in like in these cloud products and like these AI services. But 96 billion in revenue is just like unbelievable for Q2. Just to think about like the business that they've built. And I know we like say that all the time, but just to hear that in a quarter is hard to like wrap your head around.
Yeah, no, that's pretty impressive year over year growth. But yeah, that they're investing more into expenditures. I think that's going to be a trend for a lot of these companies that are investing, doubling down on AI, etc. Um, for it all. So yeah, that's wild, and they're definitely
No doubt.
pushing. They're definitely pushing for AI. With and I guess that's probably a decent segue to get into. If they're really doubling down on AI and AI mode. So if you go to Google now, I could probably do a quick screenshot. Let me just do an incognito window. Let's see what happens here. Let's see.
Yeah, because I
Share.
know they were messing around with like AI mode as a tab, and then like the I'm feeling lucky button, which I don't know. I don't know who's ever used that button before.
All
Is
right.
like an AI
So do
mode
you
button
see
option
my
now too.
incognito mode?
Yes,
All right. So I'm just going to go to google.com. Let's see if it does it. All right.
there we
So
go.
see this shiny. Oh, it was shiny before I hovered over it. Let me refresh it. There it is. So AI mode pops up here on the right hand side. So if you do anything, I'm not sure if you hit enter if it engages in AI mode or if it goes to normal. But like we had the I feeling lucky button, which is the stupidest button they ever have. Google search. So
No
let's
idea
just
what that's
see
even for, but yeah.
best running shoes for trail runs. Let's do this. And if I hit enter, where does it go? Is it AI mode? So it does normal search here. So I actually have to click. Oh, it doesn't say my. Wow, these are trending searches. Oh, random. Sorry. Let's see. Best running shoes for trails. Whatever. And I have to actually physically click AI mode, and then it should engage. Oh, maybe if my internet worked. Jeez. My internet's glitchy. Let me switch my Wi-Fi. Give me a second, Trevor. Sorry, dude.
All good. I just got these results here too on AI mode.
Yeah. Sorry. Let me just switch my Wi-Fi real quick, dude. This is crazy. Just fill the air. I'll be right back. I'm just gonna switch it. Let's see what happens.
As Steve is switching his Wi-Fi, I think the one thing that we were just at least pointing out here is that button when you go to google.com now has like that AI mode button directly on it. And in this screen that we're looking at here, in that top left, like that AI button's like a tab. I feel like they're just gonna try a ton of different experiences to like get users to use AI. I was just saying, Steve, essentially like
Yeah.
now that you're seeing like that AI mode in that top left as like a tab, that's what it looked like when it first rolled out. And now you were just showing like that button on the home screen. I think Google's really trying to think about like how do we put this in front of a user to like make this really easy to use? Because I would assume nobody used like the tab functionality because like you would just do your normal Google search as you're used to, and then like you're already getting an AI overview that would pull
Yeah.
through. So I would assume like that button and maybe this experience that we're looking at is just going to be the default search results page where like we're just going to shove it towards you and like there's just no other way around it.
It's a possibility. I mean, it's just tough because like I click. I don't know if I click see more, it just gives me more shoes. See less. Like I don't have an expanded search. Like I can't go to page by page. Like normal Google search result. So I think that gets a little limiting, where it's like I need to prompt something again, versus maybe they'll do something like you might be also maybe do this search query or something like that, and see if they run a different one or suggested searches, so you kind of keep that click through rate moving through. But I also don't see
Sure.
any ads either. I haven't seen any
No,
ads.
I've never seen an ad appear in here.
Yeah, so the whole conversation of like it'll definitely segue eventually into using AI mode or whatever. I don't even know if AI mode qualifies for this. It's more of PMAX with broad match to get into AI overviews and then eventually AI mode. But I haven't seen it come across. But this is just a big change, and I wanted to bring it up because I know the guys at the All In podcast, which you turned me on to over a year ago, which I try to listen to religiously every week. I think it's just a good kind of touch base on broader economic things. But anyways, they had mentioned like, hey man, just replace that because I used to be a I'm feeling lucky button. Just put it there. It's all over the place. And then they were talking about putting it on YouTube as well, which will be interesting. So I think they're definitely doubling down on it, and we're definitely seeing it in clients' traffic coming in more and more from AI search results. But this is tough because this search result here, um, when you do AI mode, this still counts for organic traffic coming in, and we can't tell what the difference is. Um, yeah, sorry, I have no idea what this story is about. AI searches.
Oh,
So,
that's good.
I mean, that goes back to some of the gripes we just talked about. Like, hey, I want to be able to track its AI mode that's coming through. You want to know if your AI mode is coming through for your ads, but they're not giving that to us, which is bizarre, and we do need that. One thing that I was able to do before we get into the AI mode stuff on the paid side, Trevor, this is something I wanted to bring to the table. Was I've heard other people talk about it, but there was a guy on Twitter that I think I follow, Mike Diggity. He's an SEO guy. Leon, who was on the podcast before, I know he follows him, etc. But he just brought up the point of like, hey man, look at your log files on your website server, and you will get to learn a little bit more information on what potentially these AI systems are doing. So log files, just so everybody knows what they are, and I'll probably do a horrible of describing them. Like you have Google
You want to stop
Analytics.
screen sharing, Steve?
Yeah. Let me.
I feel like that'll help like the load speed here too for us.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sorry, and that's probably a pretty distracting imagery. So log files are basically, so you have like Google Analytics that tracks like real users coming in from a JavaScript perspective. They track them and they understand what they are and they report back. Well, log files includes that, but also any bots that come through your website. They make a record note of like, hey, this person came through, or this bot came through. They looked at this page. They came through this. They looked at this page. So you actually get to see, it's kind of like the raw data or live feed, you would say, of someone coming into your website that are not just users. And historically, SEO wise, you'd be able to gain some information like organically. Hey, how often is Googlebot coming back? The log files can be kind of intimidating to read because there's just so much information and it's reported out a lot in there. I mean, AI helps it easier to read stuff. But, anyways, the idea is that you can actually download these log files and you can separate out some information that you can see AI activity coming in from your website. Let me pull something up real quick. I think it's going to be important to share.
I was just gonna say, where would you even find log files?
So
So
yeah, so that's a good question. Depending, it's going to be on your, it's actually on your hosting like account. Like it's actually from your host provider. It's not going to be if you're
gotcha.
on Shopify. It's actually like your host provider. I'm not actually sure how Shopify does it because it's got their own locked in system if they provide log files.
But like a
But
GoDaddy, a hosting
yeah, like
error, or something like
WP
that.
Engine, etc.
Yep.
We have a lot of clients on WP Engine, and they give you the ability to download like 1,500 lines, which sounds like a lot, but actually that's only like 12. Like that's a blip in the amount of time on your website. For us, we don't get a lot of traffic on our site. It's like 12 hours. It's not much. So we're actually going through the process to figure out how to download larger log files. Other providers actually backed it up in like, it's actually in your FTP files. They're there for it all, but it's something you kind of have to ask your hosting company or for your log files. Your developer or your webmaster company will be able to provide that to you as well. If you ask like, hey, can you give me my log files? Then you should be able to get them. And the way log files look, I mean, it's just all data. So this is filtered right now, but let me unfilter this just so you can kind of see. You can see these requests that are coming in. They're from all over the place. The user agents, there's like Mozilla coming through with Chrome browsers. There's some other bots that are coming through, but this is like essentially just log files, right? Just a lot of requests coming through, what pages they're checking, like any images they download, everything. It looks really confusing. But the point here is you could do some filtering if you look at the user agents coming through. Um, like this is Amazon bots coming through. I don't know why. It's kind of funny. And they visited the search term page. But the concept here is that let's say we only want to look at OpenAI. So if I do a conditional filter, filter by condition, text contains OpenAI. You're going to see that these are bots coming through from OpenAI. And there's two different types of bots. One is the GPT bot that is specific for my research. It's specifically used for GPT to update their systems to learn more about your company and your website. Has nothing to do with like people actually doing real-time searches on there. So like this is an example. They came through and they looked at our robots.txt file, probably to see if they're allowed in. And then they looked at our XML sitemap, see what pages we have on the website. Pretty basic. But this other one, GPT user, from my research, it's actually the bot coming to your website on behalf of a user's request. So it's not a visit from the user itself, but that information is getting pulled into some sort of search result in ChatGPT. And you can almost look at the IP addresses when they switch or they're all the same. That's kind of like a session. And so, for example, like this session here was actually me. I was actually asking, I know it's me because the timestamp of when it was done. I was on a call internally and I was asking ChatGPT, like, hey, does Collective 42 do websites for manufacturing companies? There's some testing that we're doing there. And it used this as a site citation in the search result for it and the homepage. So I know that if this is looking at these log files this way, you actually get some visibility, Trevor, into how often your website's appearing in ChatGPT,
That's pretty cool.
and you get a relative idea of what they're looking at. Like this session here, I don't know what the searches was, but we got referenced. Our investor relations pages got referenced in our homepage. Someone maybe was searching for investor relations types of keywords for it all. It's pretty interesting to see. This guy is like a one-off about. This is a blog post that Ricardo did about WordPress and Webflow. Maybe someone was searching about the difference between WordPress and Webflow and the advantages, and we got reference. It doesn't mean they clicked through our website, but our brand was cited as a source more than likely to pull in.
That's sick.
That is like my ongoing theory here. So if you can download a crap ton of data of your log files, store it, you can hack this up and totally understand more than Google Analytics as far as your visibility in ChatGPT, which has been a missing link. But you have to have access to your log files, which sometimes are gatekept for it all. But the data is here. It's kind of like your Google Search Console for ChatGPT per se, because you can get like impression counts, etc. I think there's some interesting data that we're going to play around with, maybe build some tools around this for log file access. Because even for us, I want to know, my own business, how is ChatGPT interacting? So we're going to start with that here. So I thought it was really cool. But yeah, shout out to Mike. I think Mike Diggity. He just kind of sparked the idea again. He's got some ideas about like, oh, maybe you should optimize this or that, but it's all basic SEO best practices out there. But this is the intelligence to know like, why is Google or why is ChatGPT bot coming in here? You can do this for Perplexity and some other ones here, but obviously ChatGPT's got the volume in comparison. I just thought this was interesting because this is only like 12 hours on our site to pull this in and see it. So if I had 30 days, 6 months of data, I get a really good idea of what visibility we're having in ChatGPT. This would be a lot bigger if you're a bigger website, 100%. So the bigger log files you have, the more data
Yeah,
crunching
that makes
you have to
sense.
do. But hey, man, why don't you just give it to AI to crunch the numbers for you? You could give them this file and crunch the data and tell me like, hey, what's our most top pages? Visualize that for me, etc. And you could have a very clear idea on like what your top pages are and how often they're coming back, etc. to get a better understanding. And I think that's the visibility people are trying to look to for AI. How much is AI affecting my business? How often, this is the only way I think you could do it right now.
That's really cool. I think I think this would probably be something that you know, people would find pretty valuable for their sites. And I was just kind of thinking like there's a lot going on in this file and like why not just give it to ChatGPT or Claude or like whatever and be like,
Yeah.
how would you dissect this data? Give me some visuals out of this data, give me some initial insights and like maybe at least start there. And then the other thing too, like to your point of like, hey, like I knew this was my query given like the date and the time and everything. I'm sure there's a bunch of different searches that you could do and just see like what page your site ranks for. Kind of similar, like to traditional SEO of like, let's do a search for this keyword and see like what page ranks for it. Maybe we wanted a different page, so then we're going to switch some stuff around content. Like you could probably do something very similar in an LLM experience to know like, are they referencing the page that I'd want to, or like referencing me at all? There's
Yeah.
probably so many other things that you could do here, but that's really smart. Like I really like that workaround there.
Yeah. The only other reporting that we've started to do for clients is actually in Google Analytics, where we look at the referring site information. We've talked about it before, but those are actual users. So it's kind of like the next step after what I just showed you. It's like, okay, they viewed it and then they actually clicked on it. So that'll actually be in your log files, but it'll be like a different IP because it's not the bot that's coming through. You can maybe
Yep.
make a connection if you see it in that time period, but it's going to be really hard to do to make that connection between the visits. But in Google Analytics, you do the referring information, you kind of get that click. So between those two, you almost get like, here's your visibility in ChatGPT. Here's what the actual traffic coming in through is, but that's only referral. We also talked about, hey, they're probably coming in directly to the site as well.
Yep.
But you start piecing it together a little bit more. And it just reminds me, man, like the log files. We used to do this for SEO stuff, like with Googlebot, how often they're coming back to their website. But this is, yeah, I think it could be a lot you could build some really cool dashboards for client data. But it's
That's
just
really
getting
cool.
access to the log files for it all, storing them,
Yep.
putting together. So we're going to explore some of that for our own site, and then maybe release this out to our clients, for it. And then there's other people that have talked about this too. I just was like, wow, I just didn't realize the bot difference between Chat GPT user and a GPT bot. Those are kind of two different references.
Yeah. That's really cool. And it's cool now to actually see in analytics and like, some other places, like just working with a handful of different clients, I have seen a little bit more, I would say, like a B2B side of like actual form submissions and stuff pulling through from ChatGPT or Perplexity and like these other LLMs where like sessions are growing and it's now kind of, I remember like a year ago now at this point in time, it'd be like ChatGPT would be like 80 sessions on the site or like 70, it would be like not much. And it seems like it's been really, really growing and it's like actually driving, results to your site there. So like, seems obvious, but this is definitely something you want to be aware of and have a better idea of like what sites are ranking or what pages on my site are ranking in those experiences for what queries. And like this is like actual, like tangible something that you could take away from this and like check for your business or your clients' businesses and at least like have an idea of what's going on.
Yeah, and that update that happened, I think there was an update in ChatGPT in April or May where they made the links come through a lot more on the search results, like or not the search results, but on the prompt response, I guess you would call it. They made it more visible, so we're seeing that traffic come through even more, and then also adoption rate is a lot higher. So yeah, I'm seeing it too. It's changing. Let's see. But yeah,
It
maybe talking
seriously
about
is.
changes, we could talk about the AI mode in
Yeah,
paid
so
ads.
obviously we just went through the AI mode like search experience now, and if you're doing Google search ads, I'm sure you've probably have considered AI Max at this point. I think we covered this on a previous episode, but essentially Google's rolling this out across all ad accounts as like this AI Max feature, which is it's at the campaign level within your Google ad campaigns. I believe it's just for search campaigns right now here. It might also include Performance Max. I think it includes both of those there, but essentially AI Max, it's catered more towards search. That's why I'm like I think it's just for search campaigns. And it might also include Performance Max, which has search inventory there. But essentially, AI Max is a setting at the campaign level where you kind of like hand over the reins to Google in a sense here. So they give you match keyword match type technology. They actually call it keywordless technology here, where essentially it's like your keywords then become theme aware. And if you kind of think about like historically how you would use Google to search versus what you're doing in an LLM, you're probably giving that LLM way more context and just using way more words and characters. So like those queries are getting much, much, much longer. And historically, if you have like, a couple like 2, 3, 4 word, like exact and phrase match keywords, they historically might have missed out on like an extremely long, search query in an LLM. Whereas now this AI Max is using this keywordless technology to kind of get some themes, get an idea of like what this user is searching, what the context is, and then pair you to those search queries. They also use dynamic headline insertions in your ad campaigns now. So one things that we're chatting with clients about is like, hey, if you see some headlines that like we didn't write and you didn't approve, this is why. Now there's some controls that you can put in place here as well, but I think like just mentioning that to your clients off the start, like there could be some copy out there that we haven't approved, but it's going to be pulled from your landing page. I think where it's going to get like a little hairy here is they also say like there's going to be some like generative AI, so like they're actually like going to create headlines on your behalf that like might not even be pulled from your website. That's like really really handing the reins over, which is kind of like a little bit I don't know scary if you will here. And then the last piece is um, they will also use final URL expansion. So like that's been a setting in the account for some time now that you can test, but they now bring this into this setting here where Google will then decide which landing page to send that user's traffic to. Now you can put some controls in place, which we have been chatting with clients about, is like, I don't know, if your clients have like a careers page, maybe negate that. If they have like a news page or something like that, negate that. So you can add some like landing page exclusions to this here as well. But all of that to say, essentially, like it's then shifting towards instead of having like two, three, four word exact and phrase match keywords that have like specific ad copy that's sent to a specific landing page, we're kind of shifting more towards like theme and keyword list technology where it's more based off that context in the search. The ad copy is potentially written by AI, and then it's going to send to any potential landing page on your site. So you're giving a lot of reins to Google, but I think in the on the flip side, if you think about the context that a user is giving to an LLM in that search experience and just writing a ton, I would assume over time Google gets really smart to know, okay, like based off of this context and other search queries, etc., this user's looking for like this experience on your website or this page or this messaging to actually get them to your site. So we're kind of pushing towards clients of like, hey, we can lean into this feature here with some guardrails in place, like some like landing page exclusions, if you will. Um, with the ultimate goal is like maybe we get some more ad inventory and AI overviews. Maybe we get some more ad inventory on that AI mode search results page itself. But that's essentially kind of like the big update within AI Max campaign settings. Extremely early days. We just rolled this out here. So I think long term that overviews and that AI Max page will be monetized, but this is probably going to be a setting that you're going to have to lean into
Is
in your Google Ads account.
is it a separate campaign type like PMAX, or like you would enable it on a search campaign?
No, it just pulls up it as a setting. Like it's literally like a toggle button that you click on at the campaign level, and then like I said, like there's a couple different things that you can do with like landing page like URL exclusions and some like guardrails you can put in place for ad copy, etc. But it's just like a button that you toggle on the campaign level.
And so like where do you toggle like the keyword stuff in that like for it? It just seems so
That
weird to
happens
me.
automatically for you.
Hmm.
So that Steve, that's where like it's going to get real interesting too. Is like how Google hides a lot of search query or search terms. It's like, are they going to give you like when somebody searched like a paragraph and then they showed your URL? Like I
Do
just
they
don't think
tell
Google's
you
going
that
to do
it's
that.
did they tell you like the keyword that triggered was a campaign like from your campaign? Like or what was from the configuration setting like of it all? Do they tell you that it triggered from it?
Yep, yep.
Hmm. I don't know how I feel about it.
So I don't know like what same because I'm like it's so early and I'm like in theory it sounds good, but then also a lot of times like when Google does have a larger update, like with smart bidding or like performance max and stuff like that, like typically off the start sometimes like it could struggle a little bit because obviously it's like it's trying to figure things out here. So in this scenario with AI Max, like that setting, you're giving a ton of control over to Google and like you might not see great results off the start. But if we're moving towards a world where it's, like this generative LLM type experience, I kind of think it's just one of those things where like you just might have to just suck it up and do it. Kind of like similar to using broad match and performance max campaigns in your ad account for favorability. You might just be in a situation here as well where like if you don't use it, you're going to see diminishing returns from your actual search campaigns.
Yeah, I just feel so weird because I don't know how much you can control it. You know, it's like you turn it on and it's like, how do I know it did what and did something? You know?
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Um, so that's where like obviously you're gonna have to keep a close eye on this one and like really measure period over period performance changes at the campaign level, at the keyword level, see what cost per clicks look like, monitor your landing page report in there. If a random landing page is starting to get a ton more volume to it, this is potentially why. And if you're not seeing like an uplift in qualified leads, revenue, sessions to your site, etc., um, obviously like you could make that decision, turn it off. But I'm right there with you, Steve. I'm like, I don't necessarily love this because you do give a ton of reins over to Google, but I kind of feel like we're in this situation where you kind of have to play the game.
Yeah, I think we'll have to come back and see how some of your clients have done with it on. I'm just curious, like, okay, what's like the proofs in the pudding if it actually works? You know, actually some tangible use cases. Then I'd feel a lot more comfortable with it. You know, because I mean, we were a little uneasy about PMAX. We tried it out, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
it seems to be like working, but this is like kind of weird. It's like an in between. You know, It's like just turn
Yeah.
this button on and everything will work better. It's like it almost feels like auto recommendations that they have. It's like just turn them on, you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this literally, like, I got like a couple accounts this week where we just got that setting enabled and had some initial conversations. There's a couple accounts that are like actually going to roll this out here. So once we collect some more data, I will have some more specifics to speak to on this pod of like, here's what search query is looking like, what type of placement data we're getting, what type of performance we're getting. Like, I'll have some more specifics here, but
Okay.
it literally just got rolled out, and I think the way in which like we're approaching this for our clients is kind of like what I said there is like early and often mention, hey, there is this dynamic add copy function to this where you might see some copy that haven't been approved. And then there's also going to be some, landing page URL expansion. There's some controls that we can put in place, but this does mean that we might then send some traffic to some like, sites that we haven't done before. Um, the more transparent you can be with the client up front, making sure everybody's kind of on the same page of like, hey, here's like what we're getting involved in.
Yeah.
Last thing you want to do is like just not mention that, like, hey, this cute, cool new AI feature. You could probably like create a headache for yourself pretty quickly there. So that's kind of how we're approaching it, is like trying to put some guardrails in place for copy, being smart about URL expansion, but also trying not to restrict it too much off the start here, and kind of like taking a little leap of faith.
Huh. All right. Well, let me know how that goes.
Will do. So, like I said, next pod we will have some we'll have some more concrete data, and then obviously like keep an eye on how the SERP is changing here. But crazy how much search is changing both on
It's
paid
finally
and
changing.
organic. And like we said, we're literally like in between client calls, so like real time insights will be provided here.
Well, this has been one choppy ass episode with this internet, so maybe next time it'll be cleaner.
Cool. I say we call it there then.
Yeah,
I
let's
feel
just
like we
call it.
covered plenty on this one.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thanks,
All right,
everyone.
folks. Until next week, we appreciate it as always.